Adam kept a notebook in the drawer beside his bed. Inside that notebook was a coffee shop, not a real one, a drawn one. He had sketched the counter, the front window, the way the morning light would come in from the left side. He had a page just for the menu, another page for the name. He had changed the name 11 times in 6 years. Every few weeks, usually late at night, usually after a bad day, Adam would open that drawer. He would sit on the edge of the bed and look at his shop. He would add a small detail, a new chair, a different sign, and then he would close it, put it back, and go to sleep feeling calm. 6 years. The notebook got thicker. His life stayed exactly the same. And here's the part that took him a long time to understand. That notebook was not a plan. It was a painkiller, and it was working perfectly. If you met Adam, you would not call him lazy. He was the guy at the table with the biggest vision. When his friends talked about work, he talked about someday. He knew the numbers. He knew what a good espresso machine cost. He had watched more videos about opening a small business than most people who actually own one. His friends admired him for it. That was the problem, because every time Adam described his shop out loud, something happened inside him that felt like progress and was not. People leaned in. Someone said, "That sounds amazing. You should really do it." Someone else said, "I would come every single day." And Adam went home full, satisfied, quiet. There is research on this. A psychologist named Peter Gollwitzer studied what happens when people announce who they are becoming. When others acknowledge it, your mind quietly files it as done. You feel like the person already. The pressure releases. And the moment the pressure releases, so does the movement. Adam was not building a coffee shop. He was collecting the feeling of one in small doses, over and over, for 6 years. There was another psychologist, Gabriele Oettingen, who ran a set of studies that should be more famous than they are. She had people close their eyes and imagine achieving their goals. Not plan, not prepare. Just imagine, really feel it, and afterwards she measured them. The people who fantasized the most came out with less energy, not more. Their bodies actually relaxed, their blood pressure dropped, and when she checked back weeks later, they had done less than the people who never fantasized at all. Read that again in your head because it explains almost everything about Adam. Your brain has trouble telling the difference between imagining a reward and receiving one. So when you dream in high definition, with feeling, with detail, your mind marks the file as handled. It pays you. And a brain that has already been paid does not get up and go to work. Every night Adam opened that drawer, he was not fueling himself. He was quietly spending the fuel. He thought he was staying motivated. He was actually draining the tank one beautiful daydream at a time. The thing that broke it was not a book. It was not a video. It was one question from someone who was not being cruel. Adam was 34. He was at a friend's kitchen table, doing what he always did, describing the shop, the light from the left side, the name he had finally settled on, and his friend, who had heard exact speech for years, put down her cup and said, "That sounds beautiful." When Adam said, "When what?" she said, "When are you opening it? What month?" And Adam opened his mouth and nothing came out, because in 6 years of drawing chairs and choosing names and comparing espresso machines, he had never once written a date, not a real one, never a Tuesday, never a number on a calendar, only someday. He drove home angry at her. That is usually the sign that something true just landed. Here's what he figured out over the next few weeks, and it is the hardest part of this whole story. The dream stayed vague on purpose, because a dream you never actually attempt is a dream you can never actually fail. As long as the coffee shop lived in the notebook, Adam was a man with enormous potential. The day he signed a lease, he became a man who might not be good enough. Someday has no deadline, and something with no deadline can never be missed. So the vagueness was not carelessness, it was armor. He was not protecting the dream, he was protecting his image of himself. And the strange, painful truth is that it is safer to want something forever than to find out whether you can have it. And there is one more layer under that. This is the one nobody says out loud. Adam's job was fine, not terrible, just gray, long gray forgettable Tuesdays that stacked on top of each other. That notebook made the Tuesdays survivable. The dream had a job, and the job was not to be built. The job was to sit in the drawer and make an ordinary life bearable. Every time he opened it, he was telling himself, this is not all there is. This is temporary. The real life is coming, which means quietly part of him did not want the shop. Part of him needed the wanting, because if he ever opened the shop, he would lose the thing that got him through Wednesday. Ask yourself that one honestly. Do you want the outcome or do you want the feeling of having something to hope for? Those are two completely different lives. What Adam eventually did was so small it is almost disappointing. He did not do a life overhaul. He did not wake up at 5 in the morning. He took a page in the same notebook and he wrote 4 lines. This comes straight from Oettingen's own work, from what she calls mental contrasting first line. What I want. He wrote it in 1 sentence, not a paragraph, 1 second line, what it would feel like if it happened. And here's the rule that changes everything. He let himself feel it for about 20 seconds and then he stopped. 20 seconds, not 20 minutes. Just enough to want it, not enough to get paid by it. Third line, what is actually in my way? Not the money, not the economy, the real one, the inside one. He wrote, I am scared that if I try it and it fails, I will have to stop calling myself someone with potential. That was the first honest sentence he had written in 6 years. Fourth line, the if and then. If it is Saturday morning and I want to redesign the logo again, then I go and stand outside a location that is actually for rent. That is it. That is the whole method. Wish, outcome, obstacle, plan. And it works for a reason that fits everything we just said. Fantasy alone tells your brain the job is finished. Contrasting the dream against the real obstacle tells your brain there is a gap, and a brain that sees a gap gets up. I am not going to tell you Adam opened a beautiful coffee shop with light coming in from the left side. 11 months later, he had a cart, a small one, in a market on weekends. It was loud. It was cold. The machine broke twice, and it looked almost nothing like the drawing. But something had changed in him that mattered more than the cart. For 6 years, he had been carrying the weight of an unlived life. And that weight is heavier than any amount of hard work. The moment he started, the weight came off. Not the difficulty, the weight. And the notebook went in a box because he did not need the painkiller anymore. He was in it. So here's the only thing I want to leave you with. You have a notebook too. It might not be paper. It might be a saved folder, a playlist of videos you watch instead of starting, a conversation you keep having at the same table with the same people, a version of yourself you have described so many times that describing it now feels almost the same as being it. It is not making you ready. It is making you comfortable. You do not have a discipline problem. You have a mind that keeps getting paid for work it never did. So stop paying it in advance. Tell me in the comments, what is the one thing you have been dreaming about for more than a year and still have not started? Write it down. Naming it out loud is the first honest thing most people ever do about it.